help remind me, okay, to hit record on things, whether it's Zoom or my phone. So attendance is really important in class, especially with the craziness that we're experiencing, okay? Because things are gonna change. We just never know what's gonna happen. So attendance is really important for lots of reasons. For that, number one. But then second of all, you do risk failure in the course because you miss out on all the information about composition, practice in writing, clarification of concepts. A lot of times, by the way, if I go, if I ever do that, I don't have COVID and I've cleared my throat, I'm letting you know that's a quiz question. Okay, so that's my little telltale sign that if I do that, that means you better mark it down because I'm going to ask you that on the quiz. Probably the next class period. Sometimes even at the end of the present class period, okay? So if you're not here, you miss out on that. Okay, so that's a good little thing. All right, also homework and in-class assignments will only be accepted at the time I collect them in class. I'm a big stickler for no late work. Okay, so you might want to write that down. I might ask you that maybe on a syllabus and policies and procedures quiz. No late work is accepted. Okay, so maybe mark that down. Even if, well, I'm trying not to take up a whole lot of paper, but I'm going to have to at some point, okay? So if I take up something in class and it's due I collected at 9:05, and you come to class at 9:07, and I've already collected everything, guess what I'm going to do? You try to hand me your homework assignment. What am I going to say? I'm so sorry, I can't take that. I've already collected it in class. And here's the reason why I do that. I'm trying to train you to be professionals, okay? If you're consistently late or something at your job, what's going to happen?
You're fired.
You're going to get fired, absolutely. So I'm trying to train you for that. Plus, I had students tell me sometimes, I used to, take late homework if somebody got to class late, and they're like, Miss Caldwell, they're sitting in their cars finishing their work. And that's not fair because, the rest of the students had done their work on time. And they were sitting in their cars or in the hallway, finishing their homework and then coming to class and getting credit, and that really wasn't fair. So I didn't really think about that until my students told me, like 25 years ago. And I thought, yeah, you're right. So no late homework, even if you're late to class, okay? However, I will drop a couple of those at the end of the semester if needed, meaning if it benefits your grade. I will drop 2 of those. So you have 2 freebies. Even if you decide, oh, I really don't want to do this homework assignment, I'm just going to take a freebie, take a freebie, okay? So you have 2 that I will drop. And again, I'll do that at the end of the semester if it's needed, okay? So, remind me your name?
Jesse.
Jesse. So if Jesse has an 89, I think, oh wow, he's so close to an A, then I'm going to go in, I'm going to drop 2 of those homework assignments. That'll probably bump him to a 90, okay? Which will be an A, which will be great. What if Jesse has an 81? Dropping those 2 assignments are probably not going to make a difference, so I'll just skip it and go to the next student. Does that make sense? So I will drop it if it's going to change your grade for the better, okay? All right. You can turn in an assignment early, okay? So you can email it to me in Microsoft Word only because if it's in like Notepad or something goofy, you can do it in Google Docs too. You can share a Google Doc with me. I should put that on there. But if it's some goofy like Notepad, then it comes up as all gobbledygook on my computer. So email it to me ahead of time. Again though, if the class starts at 9 and you email it to me at 9:15, it's considered late. So it has to be before class time. Okay. You can also have it delivered to me with another student. Maybe anybody know anybody in here outside of class? You may have an 8 o'clock class together. Do you have an 8 o'clock class with somebody else in here? No? Okay. Let's say you did. Let's say you had an 8 o'clock class with somebody and you're like, I'm not feeling the best, I'm not going to go to comp today, can you take my homework, Ms. Caldwell? Absolutely. As long as that student is here on time, I will take it. Okay? We will do some peer critiques in class, so if you don't have a full acceptable draft of that paper that day, which means a completed one, meaning if I have, it's 2 pages long, you have to have 2 full pages, has to be typed and has to be printed. because we're not gonna share laptops, okay? Because, oh, remind me your name. Cooper, yeah. So let's say Cooper has his on a laptop. I'm not gonna ask you to hand your laptop to Jesse, and so Jesse's gonna have to, critique on a laptop. It has to be printed, so you do on paper. Because what if Jesse spills his coffee on Cooper's laptop? Then it's a whole big mess. So it has to be printed. So if you don't have all that done, then it's a 0 for that peer critique grade. Peer critique grades are about 40 points. Okay, so you don't want to lose out on peer critique. All right, flash drive errors, printer errors, all that kind of stuff. No excuses, okay, for not having your paper. So make sure you have a backup plan if something like that happens. If you wait until the very last minute and it's 3 a.m. and your paper's due at 9 a.m. and your computer crashes, make sure you have a really good friend that can give you a solid and you can go use his or her computer, okay? As a common courtesy, you're expected to come to class on time and to remain until class is dismissed, okay? So try to schedule any appointments at other times. So if you do arrive late or leave class early, you will become absent. However, if at the end of class, if you get to class that I've already taken attendance, just tell me at the very end of class, oh, Ms. Cole, I came in late. I'll change it to a tardy, okay? But you have to tell me that day. Don't tell me a week later. Oh, remember on August 24th, I came in late? I am not gonna remember, okay? So make sure that you tell me on the day that you get here. Okay. Don't be habitually late to class. I know there's gonna be, time to time that you might be late once or twice a semester. What's your name? Chris. Chris was he came in a few minutes late. It's fine, for once or twice a semester. Now, Chris comes in, 5 minutes late every single day, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna have to have a talk with Chris. Of course, I know you're not gonna do that. I'm just using you as an example. So make sure it's not habitual, okay? Once or twice a semester is fine. And quizzes will be administered at the beginning or at the end of class. So if you're late or you leave class early, you can't make those up, okay? Any questions on all that? So already, what kinds of quiz questions do you think I'm gonna ask you? Do you have a quiz question already I want to ask you over their syllabus or these policies and procedures? Which one? Do I take late work? Absolutely. What's your answer? No. Okay, good. All right, critical responses in journals. These are fun, and we're going to start with this today. Here's the good part about this. I may have gone over this. Did I go over this a little bit on Friday? A little bit? I'm not going to grade the grammar in this. Did I tell you that? Yeah. So that's a really easy percentage. So sometimes I'm going to tell you, you have to write about such and such. A lot of times, and I was really glad to see in your student information forms that a lot of you like debate and to write about current event issues. It just made my heart so happy when I was reading that. I was like, yes, 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 because we're going to do a lot of that. So a lot of times I will give you topics to write about, and usually they're controversial ones. Usually there are ones that, things that are going on socially at the time. Give me some examples of some social events or some topics that are happening in our world today. Yes. I think I heard you. Go and say it again.
Protests and riots.
Yes, protests and riots. Black Lives Matter. Absolutely. What else?
Presidential.
Oh, ooh. That's a hard one. Yes. Presidential things. Ooh. It is an election year, so we do have to talk about that. Now, already, when I say president, if I can say Trump or Biden, how many of you you have strong emotions about one way or the other? Yes. So we have to remember to be very respectful of everyone's opinions. Yes. Jacqueline.
I was just gonna say, USPS.
You're going to have to help me here. So these masks are horrible.
Oh, I was just gonna say the USPS.
What'd you say?
No USPS.
Oh, yes, the post office, yes. Mail-in ballots versus voting in person. Oh my goodness. Poor post office, right? The United States Postal Service, good. Give me another one.
I think she was saying about it getting defunded.
Oh, defunded? Okay, yeah, that too. And police officers being defunded, that may be what you heard. Masks are so much fun, I'm probably gonna mishear 1,000 things, you know? It's like that, do you ever play when you were little, that gossip game? You know, where you started saying something, by the time it gets to me, it's gonna be something different. Okay, what else? How about the masks themselves? And COVID? Oh my gosh, how many of you are on social media and you're like, I am so tired of hearing about masks? You know, is COVID a hoax? Is it real? Ah! You know, it's just frustrating sometimes to see all this. But we will talk about that. What about even starting back to school face-to-face for public schools? That's a huge issue. How many of you think, oh, it's gonna go really great? Raise your hands. AJ, you're a lone wolf back there. How many of you think, oh, it's gonna be a nightmare to miss? How many of you think it's kind of in between? Yeah. So already all differing opinions, right? And here's the thing, in Comp 1, we're gonna write about controversial issues, but they're argumentative. So you will have to back up what you say. Somebody wrote about debate. Who wrote about who likes debate? Was that you? Yeah. So we're gonna do a lot of that. We're gonna do, you know, debating our topics. So AJ, you're the lone wolf. Give me some reasons why it's gonna go great.
For young people with stronger immune systems, I think they'll be fine.
Okay, that's a great point, okay? Stronger immune systems. When I say great point, when I say that doesn't necessarily mean that I agree or disagree with what you're saying, but it's a perfect example of a supporting detail. Great, give me another one. Okay, you got one, that's great. Who can help AJ out? Those of you who are kind of on the fence. Yeah.
I feel like public schools are like smarter about stuff, so they'll have a plan to keep stuff neutral.
Okay, they're smarter, so they have a plan to keep stuff neutral. You already want to know. So already have a debate right there, right? However, they have more liability, right? Trying to protect little kids. So that would be a horrible job, you know, to be an administrator of public school right now. Whew, that would be horrible. Try to figure out how to keep all these hundreds and thousands of kids safe. So, yeah, great points. Okay, so we will do a lot of that. Now, in your critical responses and journals, again, I'm not going to grade your grammar. Okay, so I'm going to point it out when you've done something incorrectly. I'll correct it or say, here's a comma splice or here's a fragment. Maybe direct you to some places that'll help you correct that, but I'm not going to count off for it. Okay, so that's a good non-threatening way. Quizzes and homework, we've already talked about that. Course load. It was interesting to see your responses about Comp 1. Some people were like, oh, I'm really excited. Some people were like, oh my gosh, I've got to get a better attitude about Comp 1 because I hate writing, which is okay, okay? I do want us to enjoy it as much as we can. I completely understand that it's not everyone's best subject, and that's okay. But I do promise you this, if you go into the class with an attitude that I'm gonna learn something, it's gonna be fine, I'm gonna be able to do whatever, you can trick your brain into having a better time than you're really having. I wish you could see, I'm really smiling under here. 99% of the time I'm smiling, okay? I know you can't tell it, but I am. Okay, so on class discussions. This one's really important. We do frequently read and discuss controversial, sometimes even offensive issues. So a good class is gonna make you angry, uncomfortable, or even sad sometimes. I have classes where people end up crying, and then not over grades, you know, like, oh, what's I gonna do? Not that kind of crying, but because they're so emotionally involved in the class that tears come out, whether from sadness, from hurt, or even happy tears. So try to keep an open mind and curious as you read, and then I want you to annotate what you read. What does that mean? Like kind of take notes on things as you're reading. Or if I give you an article to read, you might underline things or highlight things that you find important. Okay? Please be respectful of others' views during discussions. This is really, really important. We have a huge variety of background of students in here. Do we know all of our backgrounds? How many of you are sitting there thinking, this person sitting next to me would be really surprised if he or she knew my background? Probably. You would, yeah. You know, because we don't know everybody's history, right? maybe you've experienced some things in your life that are really traumatic, really hard, could be really exciting, could be whatever, but we don't know the background, so we have to be very respectful. You know, if we're writing about, I don't know, sexual assault, there's probably 2 or 3 people in here that have gone through sexual assault. So we don't know people's backgrounds, so we have to be very, very respectful. Watch what we say, because we don't want to be offensive, okay? Although college courses must stretch students' mind and prepare them to be leaders in a sensitive, chaotic world, you do have to be comfortable enough to learn. So if something's really bothering you about the class, come see me, we can talk about it, okay? On the same note, please refrain from making immature, offensive, unrelated comments. We talked about this on Friday, about classroom discussion, but I do want you to listen to your peers, okay? Because I can promise you, you're gonna learn more from each other than you'll learn from me. I learn more from you guys, okay, than I do from reading a book. So let's just go into it with that attitude. And we've talked about electronic devices. All right, any questions about them? Those are just some of the policies that we need. Okay, so you're gonna have your first journal assignment. So let me explain what that is. You're gonna tell me about yourself, okay? And when I say about yourself, don't tell me, I was born in Sheridan, Arkansas, and I have 2 brothers and 4 sisters, and I have a dog named Rover, or whatever. Don't tell me that stuff. I wanna know what really makes you tick, okay? When I say tick, that doesn't mean tick you off, although you can tell me those things too. But tell me what you really like, what you don't like. Tell me things in your life that have really shaped who you are, okay? Things that have really shaped and made you the person that you are. You could have had things, you know, happen in your life that, for the good or for the bad, that have really shaped you. People that influence you, okay, or have influenced you the most in your life, put those people down. Tell me why. You can tell me your pet peeves if you want. You know, things that really get on your nerves. Like people chewing with their mouths open. That really gets on my nerves sometimes, you know. Bad drivers sometimes get on my nerves. Anybody else have, you know, not really road rage, but just really irks you? Yeah, I'm right there with you. Things that you really like to do, and I know some of that already because you put it in your student information sheet, but go into more detail about that kind of stuff, okay? Who your friends are, what you like to do, those kinds of things. I want to know the nitty-gritty about who you are, okay? Then I want you to list 5 topics, okay? 5 topics that, like we just kind of talked about, that you want to cover this semester. 5 argumentative, controversial topics that you want to cover this semester. Yeah.
Do you want us to do it on a piece of paper?
No, I'm gonna tell you that in just a second. You're gonna do this in MLA format. How many of you know MLA format already? Oh, yay. Who, when I said MLA, you're like, I have no idea what that is. A couple of you? Okay, good. 3 of you. How many of you are like, oh, I've heard of it, but I need a good refresher? Yeah, that's probably the most. So I'm gonna take you through MLA. I will post to Canvas a little bit, probably right after class, a full instruction sheet on MLA. Yes, sir.
You said put 5 what?
5 topics that you want to discuss this semester. 5 controversial topics that you want to discuss. Okay? And you can use some of the ones that we just mentioned, too. Because some of them we're going to cover no matter what. Black Lives Matter, we're going to cover. The election, we're going to cover. Probably something to do with COVID, we're probably going to cover. I don't know. I'm kind of sick of hearing about it, but we might cover, okay? How many of you else are you're sick of hearing about COVID? Yeah, it's I'm kind of COVIDed out, but we might. We'll see.
What is it
Anything
called?
that affects us.
Just like a journal entry? Is that
Yes, it's a journal entry. So this is informal, so you can use first person. I. Okay? It's not like a formal essay where it has to be in third person and very proper. This is a journal, so informal, first person, I like this, my friends are this, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Also try to tell me something very interesting and unique about yourself that most people wouldn't know. Okay? I used to play this game, Two Truths and a Lie, but I figured I wouldn't be able to hear everybody in class this time, plus we have the online people, so it'd be kind of hard to figure out. Let me give you mine anyway. You want to see if you can figure out one? Okay, 2 truths and a lie. 2 of them are true, 1 is a lie. You have to figure out what the lie is, okay? I've been on Jeopardy, I've dated a Major League Baseball player, and I have 3 tattoos. No, sorry. No, I gotta give you another one. Okay, hold on. Let me start over. I've been on Jeopardy, I've dated a Major League Baseball player, and I've stuck my arm in the stomach of a live cow. 2 of those are true, and 1 is a lie.
Never been over there.
Yeah.
Never been on Jeopardy?
No, I'm.
Are you calling me dumb? What? I mean, come on, no.
No, I'm good with that. I don't think you.
No Jeopardy? Okay. How many think Jeopardy's a lie? Okay. My feelings are hurt. What about date a Major League Baseball player?
That's awesome.
That's possible.
3 of those, okay.
Yeah.
What about sticking my stomach in the arm of a live cow?
I feel like you probably have done that.
It's Arkansas after all,
Yeah.
right? Okay, it is Jeopardy. That's the lie. I have been on Wheel of Fortune though. I won over $11,000 on Wheel of Fortune, so that was kind of fun. Yeah. I even solved a puzzle holding the $1 million wedge, which was really awesome until the next round I hit bankrupt and lost it. But yeah, and it was also funny because the very first puzzle that came up is that y'all watch Wheel of Fortune?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know they have those toss-up puzzles to start with. You have to buzz in. So the very first toss-up puzzle, the letters are popping in, and I buzz in. It goes ding, and Pat says Tracy, and I say, I don't know. It was so embarrassing. But then right after that, the guy next to me, Melvin, he buzzed in, and Pat said Melvin, and he said I don't know either. So I was very thankful for Melvin because I wasn't the only idiot there. But anyway. But it was funny because when they aired the show, they made that the second toss-up puzzle instead of the first one. I guess they didn't want the dummies to be the very first thing you see on the show. But anyway, I did win over $11,000. That was kind of fun. So anyway, so try to tell me some interesting things about yourself that most people would not know. Okay? All right.
Which baseball player is that?
Freddie Garcia. I don't know if he's still playing now. I've been married for 15 years, so obviously it was before my marriage. 7 to 18. Huh. How long have I been married? 19 years. Oh, been married a long time. So, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, somewhere in there. 2001 is when we got married. So he was a pitcher, I think for the Red Sox for the most of the time. But when I dated him, it was right on the cusp of his making it to the big leagues. He was in the Texas League at the time. But anyway. All right, so let me show you how to do Word. Oh, in the stomach of a cow. This was interesting. The summer between my junior and senior years in high school, I went to Fayetteville for this program, and so I lived in a dorm that summer and went to school. And in the animal science department, they have these cows, and you can drive by the pasture up there and see them. They have like these holes cut out in their side, and then these big corks that you just like cork the cow. So it's really interesting. You can see all the corks, and they're big rubber corks. And whenever students want to learn to, look at the digestive tract or whatever, you can uncork the cow. That's what we did. We uncorked it, had a flashlight, looked around, all the inside of his stomach, all chambers or whatever. And then we put on those gloves up to here and reached in and, pulled out some cud and felt all around inside the cow. It's kind of interesting. So, anyway. All right, so MLA. After class, I'm going to post an instruction sheet. It's a full in-depth instruction sheet of how to set up a page in MLA. I'm also going to post an example sheet. Okay, so make sure that yours looks like the example because it's a correct one. But I'm also going to simplify the instructions for you now. Okay, so setting up a page. You open Microsoft Word. Who knows what the very first thing is you do? What do you do?
Oh, you put in your name, don't you? How to area your class?
Before that even.
Date?
Before that even.
Class. Did I already
Before
say
that.
I already said
Over
that.
here in the top right corner.
Oh, a header.
Header, yes. But here's the thing. You would think you're going to go to Insert, and then what would you think you would click? Header, but you don't. What's it thinking? Huh. My my Word is blocked out for some reason. Anybody know why? Technology is wonderful. Well, I can talk you through it. So, insert, but you don't go to header, you go to page number. Okay, so write down these instructions. Insert, page number, and if this were working, and you could actually see it, under page number, you would see some options there. You're gonna click top of page. So insert, page number, top of page, and then once you hit top of page, you're gonna have another option, and you're gonna click plain number 3. Plain number 3. Yes, ma'am.
You said that we didn't have to use Word, right? That we can use Docs.
You could use the Google Docs. I just don't know how to do the instructions in that. This is my face. Sorry.
So what, when you click that, what would it look like on there?
So you're gonna have, you may know in Google Docs what to do.
I mean, if you click the MLA, like in Google Docs has an MLA template or whatever, and so it already has the page numbers on there. I don't know if that's just what you were wanting.
Oh, maybe I have to sign in here. I don't know. Let me pull this up and then I'll show you. Maybe it'll work now. Maybe that's updated and I have to log in. Let's see. Let's see if this works. Does everybody know that you do have Microsoft Office for free as a student? So you can always use Microsoft Office. And you know I know in Google Docs, if you save it, excuse me, you can save it as a Word document too. Let's see if this works. Oh, let's see. Maybe this. All right. Insert. Oh, it works. Okay, good. So insert page number, then top of page. See how that looks right here? And then you have other options, plain number 3. So this is what it looks like. So you click here, so this gives you your header. See how weird that is? Because it's a header, but you're not clicking on header on insert. You're gonna do page number. The reason why this is because you want a page number on there. And the plain number 3 that you click is automatic pagination. So on page 2, it'll automatically have a 2 there. So you're gonna type your last name. I'll just type mine. This is really important, okay? Don't click anything else yet if you're using your laptops. There are 4 ways, or 4 major mistakes that students mess up on in MLA, okay? And remember from the syllabus and the policy and procedures, what happens if you mess up in MLA? Your grade is almost practically a 0. Okay, so write down these 4 mistakes. And I'll probably ask you these mistakes again, like on a quiz or something, like Wednesday, okay? So here's the first one. You must put a space between your last name and the page number. I'm actually gonna use a different last name so you don't think it's. Give me a last name.
Woodruska.
What is it?
Woodruska.
Like that?
I can't see that far, I'm gonna assume yes.
Okay.
That'll
We're
work.
gonna assume yes. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'm surprised I even was able to hear that. So here's the first mistake that most people make. Put a space. You must have a space between your last name and that page number. Okay, so again, 4 major mistakes that will earn a student a grade of a 0 because of MLA format. This is the first one. You have to put a space between your last name and the page number. So then how do you get out of your header? You just double click outside of it. Perfect. Okay, so then, this is kind of what Cooper was talking about. You're gonna have 4 lines here of information. The very first one is your name. AJ, is this your last name or is this made up?
That's my last name.
Okay, so we're gonna put AJ, you put dots or, is it together or space?
It's together.
Okay, so AJ Woodrasco. Okay? Then after that, you're gonna put my name. Miss Caldwell, you can put Professor Caldwell, I don't care what you put, just my name. You can just put Caldwell if you want. Then what comes next?
Date.
The course before the date. So you can put ENG, whatever that course number is, you can put Comp 1, you can put Composition 1, you can put Rhetoric and Composition 1, however you want to identify the class is fine. You can just very simply, you know, like you can simplify it and just put Comp 1 if you want. Then, the next thing, the last thing is the date. This is mistake number 2 that most people make, is in the date, okay? So remember, 4 major mistakes that earn students a grade of a 0. The first is this space right here. The second is the date. So you must write the date this way. 24 AUG 2020. I almost don't even want to write 2020. Yes, ma'am.
You can't write, like, the August can't be full.
You can. That's the next thing I was going to say. Good question. The current MLA is to abbreviate the months, but that's one thing that MLA goes back and forth on. Like, oh, one edition says you must abbreviate the months. The next edition says you have to write out the months. I really don't care which one you do. If you do abbreviate, they'll put a period there. So you can put 24 AUG period or 24 August and then 2020. Yes, sir.
Is it line space double?
Yes, I'm about to get to that, and just hold that thought, because that's the most common mistake that people make. All right, so no commas. Write this down if you need to. There are no commas in the date, no backslashes, no hyphens, nothing. It's the day, then the month, and then the year. And I see this done incorrectly all the time. I'll see August 24, comma 2020. Y'all cringe at 2020 like I do? It's like, oh, you know, it's just horrible. I really think my daughter and I killed a murder hornet here on campus last night. Like, we took a picture of it. Looks just like a murder hornet, like right outside this door. Anyway, so the date. Now, the third thing is the spacing. Everything in MLA is double spaced. However, MLA or the Microsoft Word is really goofy. Does this look double spaced? Maybe? Let's look. Let's highlight it and let's look under paragraph. Oh no, it's on multiple. So let's change it to double. Okay, so I've changed this to double. I'm going to click OK. Here's the mistake. This is wrong.
Would you say the where? How
Mhm. Right here under paragraph. Paragraph, and then you've got line spacing right here. Look, it's on double. Why is this wrong? Because this is wrong. And this is the most common mistake that people make. Even looking at it, does it look like it's more than double?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Here's what Microsoft Word defaults to. You must change this. Let's go back to paragraph. See this after spacing? Microsoft Word defaults to 8 point. We need to change that to 0. Okay, you have to change it to 0, or you could click this right here. That does the same thing. Don't add space between paragraphs of the same style. Now watch. Everybody look at my screen. Watch the highlighted area when I click OK. Ha. See how it went back to this? That's true double spacing. And that's the most common mistake. Because people will go, oh, I changed it to double spacing, but you didn't set that after spacing to 0. You have to do that or you're going to miss out. Okay? Now, a lot of people, let me rephrase. Not a lot of people, but every semester I have a handful of people that still make one of these 4 common mistakes that I'm going over. You forget or whatever. I draw, and you get a 0, but I drop one journal. Okay, so if you forget, if you make some mistake, don't worry, that's the one we'll drop. Okay, just, check it from now on. Okay, so that's mistake number 3, is the spacing. Make sure you set the spacing correctly. Let me go back and show you another way though. Remember how, right here, I could change that to 0, or I can click this right here, and it does the same thing. So that's another way to do it. Another thing that you could do before you start typing is click this no spacing right here. So if I click this no spacing, then it automatically goes to single space. See how it defaulted to 0? Then I just changed this to double, and it does the same thing. So any of those 3 ways will correct the mistake. I don't know why Microsoft Word defaults to that goofy setting. There is a way, I'm not sure how, at the top of my head, you probably know already, that you can save these settings as your default settings. So that's what I would do if I were you, is to save this to your default. So you don't have to make those changes every time. All right, what comes next?
Title,
The title, yes. Where does the title go?
center of the page.
Center. So you're gonna center it, and then your title. Here's mistake number 4. On your title, it's just regular text. Okay, so write this down or remember it. No quotation marks, no underline, no italics, no bold. You're not gonna make this point size bigger. You're not gonna do anything at all to the title. It's just plain Jane title. Okay? Some people wanna put, quotation marks around it. The only way that quotation marks will go around the title is if it's been published somewhere. Okay? So you probably haven't been published in a magazine about yourself yet for this one. Maybe you have a short story published or something and you wanna turn that in. Then you can put it in title or quotation marks. Otherwise, no quotation marks. No italics, no underline, no bold, don't make it bigger, don't do anything to it. Okay? Then after that, what do? You go back to the left, the line, and then you're gonna start typing. What's the very first thing you need to do?
Tab.
Tab. So don't forget your tab. And then you just type away. All right, so let's review a little bit. What are the 4 most common mistakes in MLA? The spacing between your last name and the page number. Good.
Put the date the right way.
Yes, the date has to be done correctly. Third one.
3 double spaces.
Yes, and the spacing, I promise you, that is the most common mistake that I see. So be very careful with that. All right, and the 4th one,
Title,
title, just plain Jane. Okay? And again, after class, I'm gonna post an example sheet. It'll say MLA example. What I would do if I were you, when you're typing your first one, is print off what you've typed, print off this example sheet, put it next to each other. If the spacing is not equal, like on the same line, you know, when you have it there, your spacing is off, okay? Because the example sheet is correct. So compare the 2, excuse me, make sure that you have the spacing correct. Okay, so 2 things for homework, kind of. What's the very first thing we're gonna do on Wednesday?
journal entry,
Not yet.
no,
Very first, quiz. I'm gonna give you a quiz over syllabus and policy and procedures. Make sure you bring a device on which to take the quiz. We're gonna do it online very quickly. I'll give you about 10 minutes or however long it might take for you to take the quiz, but we're gonna do it electronically. You may have a problem with that, not have a device on which you can take a quiz. You can do it on your phones if you need to. Okay, perfect. So we'll do that first. Your journal entry is due on Friday. Friday, 9 a.m. Okay, we're gonna upload it to Canvas. So I will set up that assignment after class as well. And just make sure you submit before 9 a.m. You know what? Let me change that to 11:55 Friday night. But I want you to try to upload before class. That way if you have any issues in uploading, you can ask me, you know, when we see each other in class on Friday.
How long is that?
Good question. So the length is minimum 1 page. I always get emails, if I fail to tell you this, I always get questions, can I go more than 1 page? Absolutely. It can be as long as you want it, just 1 page minimum. Now, what's a full page? A full page, okay? Not this much left at the end, it has to be a full page. But of course, once you get MLA up there, that's like 1/3 of the page gone right there, so it's not a whole lot. Do you have a question too? You get to title whatever you want. Yeah, that's a good question. So on your title, you decide whatever you want to decide.
What happens if we just put title?
Oh, don't just put title. You're much more creative than that. Your question was more creative than that. So, come up with something really jazzy. Why is the title important? Yes, it catches the reader's eye. That's the very first thing I see. If I see title, what am I going to think in my head? I'm going to roll my eyes and shake my head, right? So make sure you have a really good title. Oh, good question. On the font, I really don't care. However, I do know the tricks, okay? If you take a Word document in Times New Roman, change it to Courier New, it's like an extra half a page. Don't use that in my class because I know the tricks. Now, what you do in your other classes is up to you, okay, on page length requirement. But Courier New makes it about a half page longer. So Times New Roman's good. It defaults to Calibri. That's totally fine. Cambria, I think some of them default to. That's fine too. Just nothing like big. Font size 12. Oop, it defaults to 11, so you can change it to 12. All right, any questions?
So tonight, study the syllabus.
Yes.
Tomorrow, syllabus quiz.
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday syllable quiz.
And
Syllabus
then
quiz.
journal entry by Friday.
By Friday. That's it.
Okay.
Wait, this is due by Friday?
The journal is due by Friday. Friday night, 11:55 p.m. And I'll open it in Canvas after class. All right. See you guys later.